Welcome to the Haymaker MMA show with your hosts, Tanasha and Ian Wall.
Welcome back to the Haymaker MMA. We're going to be going over the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Geoff Hands of Steel main card. First and foremost, the episode of this podcast is brought to you by OnlyFans. Are you beat and lonely? Try a subscription to OnlyFans. Jumping right into it, we're going to go with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson coming in against Geoff Hands of Steel Neal in the main event of everything. I'm looking at Stephen Thompson. You know, he's a master at the long-range point fighting. It doesn't really like to get as dirty as some of these other brawlers like to get. Geoff Neal's like a good kickboxing-based guy. He's got some decent defensive wrestling, which I don't think is going to play a part into any of the fight going in here this weekend. But he hasn't really fought any technical strikers like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. A lot of his fights have been against more of the brawly guys like Frank Camacho, Nico Price, Mike Perry, all guys that aren't really the most technical, use range and use their style the best, which Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has been amazing at. One thing that makes me kind of think less of Thompson going into this is he's been hit hard in all of his last fights. In the Luque fight, the Till and Pettis fight where he got hit with this Superman punch and Till dropped him. And Geoff Neal has heavy hands. So he's got to watch out for that. But I like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson by points. I think he's going to weather that storm and be able to maybe even get a KO. But either way, I think Stephen Thompson is something Geoff Neal hasn't faced before, and he's going to be able to use that range and point fighting style to avoid the KO and get a W for himself.
Yeah, shout out to Wonderboy. He's always taking fights with guys that are ranked below him, that are ranked below. Yeah, below is right, I'd say. He's about 4 or 5 right now. Hand of Steel, 11 maybe, I think, maybe 9. But he also took a fight against Vicente Luque, who was ranked way lower than him. And so was Anthony Pettis, who was just coming up from 155. So good on Wonderboy. I do feel Wonderboy is getting a little older. But as you said, it's going to be a stand-up battle. And no one beats Wonderboy in a stand-up. Even the Pettis fight that he lost, it was a Superman punch. It was off of a Wonderboy kick. Wonderboy was winning the whole fight until that point. He also cracked Luque a bunch of times when they were fighting. I really enjoyed that fight because Luque is so technical too. Like, look what he did to Nico Price. He closed his eye, just outpointed him. Neal's got a lot of power. He's, like you said, he's knocked out all these guys that don't have the skill, but they're brawlers. And he prevailed against them. But I don't see that happening against Wonderboy. And I think, Wonderboy is just too smooth with that, and he's going to get it done.
So here's another wrinkle to Geoff Neal, too. On August 6th, he had cardiac arrest and was in the hospital for a week and had to have, I should have figured it out, but I don't know if he had to undergo surgery for it or not. I feel like there's not much else but surgery you do for cardiac arrest. I'm not a doctor, but that, on the contrary, though, on a couple of days ago, he posted on his Instagram, he had like an 8-mile run at a 7-minute and 10-second pace, which is a pretty nasty run to go on, especially after just having cardiac arrest. So that was a red flag, but also eased some of the pain, or eased some of the worries. But still, with that being said, that thrown into the pot made me a little more comfortable with Wonderboy.
Yeah, I'm happy for Geoff, though, getting a cardiac arrest and then coming back, able to fight. Having his stamina and everything back too, so it's a good sign. He's working hard. He's a really good fighter. Some people say he slept on, but Wonderboy is a tough test for anybody, and I think Neal's gonna go down. Wonderboy gonna prevail. Up next, we have Jose Aldo and Marlon Chito Vera. Jose Aldo is a former and the most successful featherweight champion. He's moved down to bantamweight 135. He's fought for the belt. He's had 2 fights. He looked really good against Marlon Moraes, and then Pelterian is just a crazy savage, and he beat up Aldo a little bit. But Aldo held his own in a couple of rounds, I think, but after the time passed, he got beat up pretty bad. Chito Vera just shut down the hype train and Sugar Sean O'Malley in his last fight. It's the Cheeto show now, I guess, and that's why he's bumped up to this tough test of Aldo. I love Cheeto's attitude. Every time you listen to him talk, and he's like, dude, I'm a fucking killer. I'm working so hard. He's also Perillo boxing. I feel like all those guys have something in them, guys and girls. We saw Mackenzie this weekend. they're like, fuck it, we're gonna train, we're gonna beat these guys up. Like what he did to O'Malley. I know it was like a TKO because of leg kicks and he hurt his knee and all of that, but still, he just stood there in front of him and beat the crap out of him. He just has no stop in him, and I think that could cause problems to Aldo because Aldo's so aggressive too. And I just think Vera, like he's so high on that Cheeto on the O'Malley win, and he's younger, and I think he's gonna get it done.
Interesting, yeah. So I'm looking at Aldo. Seems like he should be like 45, but he's not. He's 34.
Yeah.
And he's 0-3 technically in his last three, which is interesting. Going in, still giving him such a good shot. I think Vera's two kind of the biggest weapons, or which gets his wins, or his pressure on the feet and his submission offense off the ground and his jiu-jitsu attempts off the ground. I think Aldo's lost one time by submission. Great Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner. I don't see Vera being able to do anything submission-wise on the ground to a guy like Jose Aldo. And then the other way you would beat him is through the pressure on the hands. And I kind of looked at who Vera's lost to, and you look at Yadong Song, Lineker, and Douglas De Andrade, and a lot of those guys have those kind of step-in hooks to the bodies that are just devastating. And I think
he beat Song Yadong. I don't know if you watched the fight, but he beat him. I can say that with confidence. I know he lost on the judges, but I'm very confident. And I bet on Song that night too.
Yeah, it was definitely closest. Actually, you're absolutely right. I remember even in the day, I remember being like, I dodged the bullet with that one. Yeah. But still, Song, the punches he did land, looking back at those three fights, had a little Aldo boxing, because he did land some good shots against Cheeto and in the clinch and just in some of the exchanges. Vera's a longer guy for this division, and Aldo's a smaller, more compact guy that gets on the inside. And I think the body punches, I think the key to all of this is if Aldo can land work to the body. Watching back on the film, the guys who had the most success were some of the guys who were hammering to the body with Lineker. Obviously, there's not a lot of film to watch where Vera's losing too much in the last couple of years. But in the people who I did see have success, it was that. It was meeting fire with fire and going to the body, not just exchanging too much in a brawl. And I think Aldo might be able to, or has a good shot of doing that. And I think this is a huge gatekeeping moment for Vera. This huge gate, and I think this is super close. I could see it going either way. But if I had a gun to my head, I think Aldo, for whatever reason, is just gonna put himself in no man's land where you're just like, where the fuck do we fit Aldo in all this shit after getting a win off of Cheeto Vera? I think he gets it done, and I think he puts himself and everybody in like, what the fuck do we do with Aldo's spot? He's old as shit. He's been in every page in the book, and we'll see. But I can totally see Cheeto Vera getting it done also.
I don't think Cheeto Vera breaking with the body shots. I know like that's worked, but I think he's coming off. He's been so high since the Sugar Show because he was the outcast. They were like, O'Malley like minus 700, whatever the fuck favorite, all about him, and he just stole all that thunder. And I think he's riding high. He's hungry, and I think he just lasts longer. Like Aldo, if it goes a little deeper, he's gonna get tired. And he took a lot of damage against Jan, which was unnecessary. Ref should have stopped it like a minute before it happened, probably 40 seconds at least. But I don't know, dude. I don't like that damage. You saw like what happened to Tony this weekend.
Those older guys.
One beat down and you're a different person, and it's true. I mean, some people can come back, and I thought Tony really would, but I don't know. I like Cheeto in this one.
Yeah, honestly, I've for whatever reason a feel in my loins that I would rather Cheeto win and to have the prospect of the up and coming hype stuff, and I feel like Aldo's gonna disappoint a lot of fans, not in his performance, but in the being where the fuck do we do with Aldo. So we'll see. I hope you're right tonight. I hope you're right for the sake of the fans. We can't have Aldo's ass around it's too many more years, bro.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do the next one. So next up we have is that a lady? No, Michelle.
Michelle Freya.
I was gonna pretend like it was a chick because it's a Michelle.
Oh my bad.
It's all good. I'm gonna read it. And the next fight on the card, is this a lady? Michelle Oh no, it's a large Brazilian man. Michel Pereira versus Chaos Williams. You know, Pereira's coming in. He's a fucking wild man. Is the dude is just jumping on the cage, not even like jumping off the cage, jumping on the cage, hanging out for a second, and then jumping off and kicking. Just a total fucking wild dude. Out of his last 10 fights, only one of them went the distance, and he's crazy on the feet, so he gets some good KOs in some fights, just being a wild, super powerful, huge for the division. But he also has a great submission arsenal in there. I shouldn't say great, but he's got a good Brazilian jiu-jitsu under him also, with some good rear naked chokes, and he definitely can hold his own in the grappling and is dangerous in those situations. And then when I was doing some research on Chaos Williams there, you know, his last two, not a lot of film to watch in the UFC for Chaos, with two super early KOs over Moreno and Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who's a sick feather to have in your cap for KO. But then I looked at the fight before that in one of his regional promotions against a guy, Jamie Holloway. Went to decision, lost the first round, didn't look very technical on the feet, was just swinging from the hips, really a lot of looping stuff. And you know, Pereira's low-key, even though he fights kind of like he is crazy, but he's got 35 fights. He's got some good experience under his belt. And I think if Chaos doesn't get him out of there in the first round, or catch him clean after, you know, maybe Pereira overextends on a bad crazy kick or a bad crazy punch, and Chaos can clip him coming in. But I think after that first, 5 minutes or 7.5 minutes, Pereira's experience is going to help him win that fight. I don't think Chaos is going to have much success after that first round.
This is gonna be a sick fight. I don't know if it's gonna last 20 seconds or 3 rounds, but it's just gonna be a stand-up war. So fuck all that jujitsu. I don't think Pereira is interested in taking him down and submitting him or anything. He wants to jump on the cage, like you said, and kick his head off. But Pereira started doing that in the UFC. It wasn't working at the start as well. But his last fight, he looked really good. He was pointing the other guy out. He was just, yeah, he found a good balance. And I think that little craziness is gonna help against Chaos Williams, because Chaos Williams just likes to stand in the pocket exchange. I don't know. He might not see what's gonna hit him if he comes, flying in, jumping in, whatever the hell he's doing. But I hope he doesn't do too much of that. That he expends all his energy on that, on the on the flashiness. Like, it's cool to watch, but if you're not winning, there's no point. It's way cooler if you just win and knock the guy out. But Williams has that power, man. I don't know. I was thinking about Williams by knockout just because of what he did the last couple of times in the UFC. Like you said, there's not much film because he's won so quick and so devastatingly. And I don't know. I think Chaos Williams gets this one, to be honest. This is a sick fight. I don't know matchmakers what they're doing, but this is perfect. Like, both of them deserve to fight each other. Everybody will tune in for this fight night, and especially for this fight on it.
Yeah, this is interesting too, because I was thinking, both these guys have a lot of crazy power, first round stuff. Maybe what's the under on this one, or to not go the distance? But then I was thinking, if it gets past the first round and these guys are in kind of uncharted waters, not really Pereira because he's been there a couple of times, but if he blows the gas tank and they're both gassed in the second round or whatever, that can one of those ones that can go to the distance at like a plus 500 to go to the distance.
It could be like the heavyweights just swinging dead or something like that for 3 rounds. But I hope it isn't, and I really don't think it will be. All right, up next we got Marlon Moraes fighting Rob Font. Moraes, the former title challenger. He's always been a top 5 bantamweight since I've looked at. Nasty power for that division. He has a little short arms, but he has so much power. And his kicks are just on point. And he also very, very, very good in submissions. Font, on the other hand, he's fought a bunch of good guys. He's had mixed results. Font has his biggest advantage is going to be his reach. And we saw that reach was a problem against Moraes last time when Sandhagen knocked him out. Which is very strange because Moraes always tends to win the first round. The first 2 maybe. Like 1.5, he's always on top. He comes out firing, banging.
Such a good starter.
Yeah, he just starts on fire and then he gets exhausted. That's been the narrative on him. But that didn't work against Sandhagen. I think Sandhagen's a beast, one of my favorite fighters. But I think Moraes has just fought better guys all around. More power, starts out better. And I really hope he's worked on his cardio. Last time I said it, he didn't get to, last time I was saying the same thing, but we didn't get a chance to see it really. So I hope we do. I don't know if he'll go the distance because of Moraes' power for that division. But yeah, I think Marlon Moraes is going to get it done.
Interesting, yeah. Moraes is another one like with Aldo, who's hypothetically on a 3-fight skid, even though he got the win over. Actually, that's weird. Even though they got the win over Aldo,
Mm-hmm.
everybody and Dana White said he lost that fight, and Aldo got a title shot off it. But
I thought he lost it too.
right, so then you factor that, and he's on a 3-fight skid. He's so kind of trajectory isn't looking the best. Is definitely needs a win here. Rob Font is a guy. There's a couple fighters in my head that are types of like intellectual guys who are smart, who try to like I think game plan or look at the X's and O's. And I think a lot of those Massachusetts guys, I can't remember the name of their gym, like Calvin Qatar and him have like a similar, and Corey Sandhagen also. A lot of the Canadian guys who are up there at TriStar. Are real. I think have an intellectual game or whatever it is, and I think Moraes might struggle with that with Font and his reach and just being able to enact a great game plan, weather that early storm. He knows those head kicks are coming in the first round, and to be ready for those blitzes. And I think he takes over in the second and third. So I like Rob Font. I think Moraes is on the trajectory on the down trajectory, and I think Rob Font might be smart enough to pull this W off.
Next we have a flyweight women's fight. Jillian Robertson taking on Talia Santos. Robertson is the better wrestler, more submissions and everything, but Santos is just a killer on the feet. She has 10 knockouts in 16 wins, I think.
As a chick.
Which is crazy. Yeah, for girls, like, we're not being assholes or anything. That is pretty sick.
I was being an asshole.
Yeah, I wasn't, but if you look at anyone's record, only the top fighters like Cyborg, Nunes, Valentina, and Ronda and shit like that have those kind of records. Like 10 knockouts is ridiculous. Not even like the second tier of like Holly Holm and all of those girls, they don't have those either, They have a few flashy ones under their belt. But yeah, Santos, Robertson, I think she's going to find it tough to take Santos down for some reason, and Santos is going to outpoint her on the feet, so I like Santos in that fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Santos, I was looking into that, the 10 KOs too. Unfortunately, all of her KOs are coming off of girls who have either 0 wins or it's their debut
outside the UFC.
Outside the UFC. So definitely, now granted, has proved a little bit of herself in the UFC after that, but definitely did not have good competition leading into the UFC. Like, for instance, before she fought in the Dana White Contender Series, her last fight before that, she was fighting a girl who was 0-1 and TKO'd her to get her shot in the Contender Series. So, but with that being said, she's got like that fucking Brazilian testosterone in her, bro. Like that crazy.
Knockouts too, 10 knockouts.
Yeah, exactly. It's not easy to knock anybody out, no matter what it is. But just has that kind of like that aggressive testosterone kind of style. Unfortunately, that doesn't work the best if somebody's a lot better technically than you, or a better grappler than you, or whatever it might be. Looking at the Mara Borello fight, she got taken down by some like body locks and stuff, and was able to be controlled on the ground for good distances of time, which gives me like good confidence that Jillian Robertson's 50% takedown accuracy is going to give her some success, and she'll be able to wrestle fucker to a win, whether it be a submission or a ground and pound or something. But I'm liking Robertson with showing her wrestling prowess to get the win.
You know what? I was thinking about changing my pick again back to Jillian, but I'm gonna wait till weigh-ins to make my official bet on this fight. I think that's the smartest plan. For the main card, we have Greg Hardy and Marcin Tybura kicking it off at heavyweight. Hardy coming off a sweet knockout. He's looked good in the UFC, to be honest, even though his personality is not very attractive. And he fucking missed heavyweight last time. He had to take a shit and come back to cut those last 2 pounds or whatever. But still, he's a good fighter. I respect him for that. He's switched sports and he's taken it up really well. Tybura, on the other hand, it seemed like he was going on a skid, and then last fight he he pretty much destroyed Big Ben Rothwell. That was a clear decision for Tybura, and like I like that he wrestles so much, and I think that's gonna be a problem for Hardy. If Hardy wins, it's got to be a knockout because I don't think because if they stand for too long, Tybura is gonna shoot for the legs. But if you're going safe, I think I'll just take Tybura because the wrestlers do have an advantage when once they can get in, they have an advantage. And Hardy also doesn't have the best gas tank, and if Tybura is lying on top of him, he's gonna get it done. He's gonna get a decision, or maybe just like grind out, or maybe just land some ground strikes and finish it off. Because heavyweights have that power to finish a fight like just punching on the ground and shit.
Yeah, I mean, I got fucking Hardy's just got so goddamn athletic, man. I don't know, for such a big guy, and I think that has so much to do with the takedown defense. You look at his fight with like Juan Adams, even with like Alan Crowder. There's a couple of takedown attempts shot against him, and he looked good with the wrestling defense, at least in the short time that he's been in the UFC. And yeah, like you said, you kind of hate to see it as being on Team Good Guy, but Hardy's looked great since he's been in the UFC. Putting the hands to good use now, not for doing the Lord's work, not the devil's. And but yeah, with that being said, I think Marcin Tybura also looked like he had one foot out the door, but has been on an upswing kind of later in his career. Looks great against Ben Rothwell. But I think Hardy he's got a bright future in the next couple of years. He's been so active too. He's fought so many times since entering the UFC. He's been fighting very frequently. And I think this is going to be another step in the right direction for Greg Hardy by decision. Maybe a late TKO, but I like Greg Hardy in this one.
Yeah, also like Hardy's improved every single fight. I mean, I think I've watched most of his fights, if not all, since Contender Series, UFC, and everything. He gets better and better every time he goes. I know he's lost a couple in the middle. One of them was a fucking DQ because of the
Idiot.
freaking asthma.
Fucking idiot.
The inhaler. Sorry, I was losing it on that. But yeah, he's getting better, definitely. And if he wins, it's a solid win for him because Tybura, like you said, he's found himself again, getting the wins. Big Ben is not a guy to mess with, and he got the job done. So that's why I like Tybura, man. All right, feature prelim, we have Anthony Showtime Pettis, the former lightweight champ, the man on the Wheaties box. Pissed off a little bit. Pissed off some people, including Nate Diaz, with that. And then he's fighting Alex Morono. Pettis, I think he's 5-5 in his last 10, and he's gone back and forth from lightweight to welterweight. He fought Cowboy last. I thought he lost to Cowboy. I thought Cowboy was more active. But Pettis is still a clean striker, man. You can't count him out. See what he did to Wonder Boy. We all thought Wonder Boy was going to win. He was winning the fight, and then boom, Superman punch. All right, then we got Morono, who is coming up with a win over Reese McKee. He won a clear decision. He outpointed him, outclinched him, and everything. He's actually four wins out of his last 5. He just lost a devastating knockout to Chaos Williams in the fight before McKee. I think he's a very good, well-rounded fighter. He can hang on the feet, and he's not too bad when it gets close as well. But Anthony Pettis is minus 230 favorite, which I think is pretty high. He's not looked that good recently, but I think he's gonna win. Like he said in an interview this week, he said he's done like boozing super hard and smoking so much weed. He's gonna focus back and become the fighter what took him to the belt, and he's more focused and he's gonna get the win.
Yeah, I don't fucking believe him, but I hope he's right. He's also one of these guys that are in the WEC or that started fighting like since they were in the WEC. Somebody brought it up when they're talking about Tony Ferguson. Like, it's sick to think like, oh, they're still doing it from this time, but then
I don't think Ferguson fought in the WEC.
He wasn't, but people were saying
that,
he started his win streak when women weren't in the UFC and Conor McGregor was on welfare, blah blah blah. And then people were saying, "Oh, that didn't age well. We should have been able to see the writing on the wall or whatever." Or obviously, logically, yeah, that's like a totally different generation ago. There's a totally different set of wave of guys coming forward, and some of those guys are getting pushed out through the other side, and unfortunately, I think maybe not on this fight, but in the next year or two, Pettis might be on that slide into retirement or into a different organization. But still definitely has a great shot here against Alex Morono, the great white, who's kind of a scary, or not a scary, but a more intense guy, not afraid to get in it and mix it up. So I think that makes it dangerous for an Anthony Pettis, who I was just saying has got a lot of miles on the clock. With that being said, though, Anthony Pettis is just a fucking dog. Like you said, he's real crisp on the with his hands on the feet. He's got some great submission skills also off his back. Totally gets slept on with his submission skills. Doesn't like to get hit as much as he used to, and is a little more fragile in that sense. But I still think that fucking Pettis gets it done with the.
Yeah.
I think we might see a Showtime kick too. I think it was like,
really?
Yeah, I think it was like
you think
yesterday.
He's back in that much of a way that he's gonna fucking surprise us?
Well, he just clobbered Wonder Boy off of Showtime.
Yeah.
So
Superman.
Showtime.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.